With the soon-to-be-released Amnesia game, Amnesia the Bunker, I wanted to go back to Amnesia the Dark Descent to re-experience the horror and awesome storytelling of this game once more. Welcome! In this short video, I will narrate and retell to you the story of my favorite horror survival adventure video game of all time.
Don't forget, some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at Mayfair. What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is I am Daniel.
The day is 19th of August, 1839. A young man awakens in the dark and empty halls of a Prussian Brandenburg castle with no memory about himself or his past. All he can remember is that his name is Daniel, that he lives in Mayfair, and that something or someone is hunting him down. Shortly after regaining consciousness, Daniel finds a note he wrote to himself, which informs him that he has deliberately erased his own memory and is being hunted by the Shadow, an unearthly presence that manifests itself through fleshy, acidic growths spreading throughout the castle. The note instructs Daniel to descend into the inner sanctum of the castle in order to find and kill its baron, Alexander.
19th of August, 1839. I wish I could ask how much you remember. I don't know if there will be anything left after I consume this drink. Don't be afraid, Daniel. I can't tell you why, but know this. I choose to forget. Try to find comfort and strength in that fact. There is a purpose. You are my final effort to put things right. God willing, the name Alexander of Brandenburg still invokes bitter anger in you. If not, this will sound horrible. Go to the inner sanctum, find Alexander, and kill him. His body is old and weak, and yours, young and strong. He will be no match for you. One last thing. A shadow is following you. It's a living nightmare, breaking down reality. I have tried everything, and there is no way to fight back. You need to escape it as long as you can. Redeem us both, Daniel. Descend into the darkness where Alexander waits and murder him. Your former self, Daniel.
As he makes his way through the castle, Daniel gradually learns both about its mysteries and about his own past, through notes and diaries he finds, as well as through sudden flashbacks and visions. The origins of his situation is a mysterious orb that he recovered from the Tin Hinan tomb, which unleashed the Shadow.
17th of May, 1839. After pounding the unforgiving stone wall for what seemed like an eternity, I realized it was hopeless. I was trapped. I fell to the ground, gasping for air, trying to focus. That's when I saw a faint blue shimmer. My weakened body was heavy to carry, but I managed to push myself toward the enchanting light. It was waiting for me. Enclosed in dark nothingness, I felt myself drawn to the mystic light. I reached out, closing it in my hands. The faint glow escaped my fingers and began to spark brightly and spirit me away, unlocking alien memories of spiraling towers, endless deserts, and impossible geometry. The next thing I can remember is the grating sound of stone being lifted, the voices of the Arabs pulling me to safety, and grasped firmly in my hands was the broken pieces of a most peculiar relic.
Each of the experts he contacted and consulted in person about the orb was later found gruesomely dismembered. Realizing that the shadow was slowly stalking him, Daniel desperately exhausted all archaeological leads into strange orbs until contacted by this Alexander, who promised a means of repelling the threat of the shadow via a Vitae energy, which could only be invested from living creatures via extreme pain and terror. However, Alexander's true purpose is to use Daniel's Vitae enriched orb to return to his native dimension from which he was banished centuries prior. To achieve this end, Alexander and Daniel gathered Vitae by torturing innocent people that Alexander claimed to be murderous criminals.
Let me go, you brute!
The cradle is ready.
Good.
You're a man! How can you partake in this?
Is he all right?
He is one of the wicked. Don't pay his lies any attention.
I'm not a bad man! It was an accident!
He set a man on fire.
It wasn't my fault! Why won't anyone listen?
That's horrible.
Of course. We are dealing with monsters here.
To maximize the production of Vitae, the victims were forced to consume a potion that induced amnesia, so that they could never grow accustomed to that torment. Unknown to Daniel, application of Vitae to the orb further enraged the shadow in addition to briefly repelling it, sealing his eventual doom. Increasingly desperate to escape the shadow, Daniel became sadistic in his attempt to harvest Vitae and accidentally killed an escaping prisoner, a young girl, in a fit of rage. Following the final ritual, Alexander sensed Daniel's guilt and declining faith in him, and left him for dead as a result. Realizing how Alexander had manipulated him, Daniel swore revenge and swallowed an amnesia potion in order to overcome his paralyzing guilt.
19th of August, 1839. It's not fair! I'm not to blame! I've been manipulated by that demon! He played my guilty conscience and duped me into facing the shadow alone. That vile, conspiring man. He expects me to meet my death as he steals power beyond imagination? Alexander, I will kill you for what you have done. If only the shadow had caught me in London or Algeria, I wouldn't have to suffer this humiliation. You made me a murderer. A monster! And now, I merely await my death. I am too weak to press on. I can hardly stand as my knees fail me. I cannot see as my eyes are dressed in tears. I am as broken as the men I've tortured. If only I could wipe my fear away, as we did with them. As
Daniel nears the inner sanctum, he encounters Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, a man who had once studied the orbs with his student Johann Weyer, and has since been kept alive and imprisoned by Alexander. He tells Daniel that Weyer has been able to harness the power of the orbs to travel between dimensions, and instructs him in finding the pieces of what used to be his own orb, which is needed to breach the inner sanctum. Agrippa also asks Daniel to take with him his head, which can be severed alive using a tonic invented by Weyer, and throw it into the interdimensional portal after Alexander opens it. Once Daniel enters the inner sanctum, there are 3 possible endings to the game. 1. He can let Alexander succeed, then be killed by the shadow and descend into darkness, while Alexander tells him his sacrifice will be forever celebrated. 2. He can prevent the portal from opening by knocking over its support columns, then leave the castle content with his redemption after the shadow kills only Alexander. 3. He can throw Agrippa's head into the portal, which leaves the shadow to kill both Alexander and Daniel, though Agrippa promises to save Daniel from descending into darkness, counting upon Weyer to help him. Thanks for watching.